Welcome to Whisper Tales, where every whisper hides a nightmare. 99% of you guys are just watching but not subscribing. If you love spine-chilling horror stories that keep you up at night, then hit subscribe and join our dark journey. Because the next tale might be about you. He opened one. Inside was a tiny mock apartment. IKEA furniture. A digital calendar that read 2018. Another door, Michael R. 2007. A child's room. Posters of dinosaurs. A broken lamp. Each door held a memory simulation. Each version of him, frozen in time. A voice in his ear whispered, "Pick one. Live there. Let go." He shut the door. At the far end of the hallway was a fire escape. Above it, exit. He sprinted. The lights dimmed behind him. The hallway crumbled. He reached the door, pulled it open. Blinding white light. A new Starbucks. Same setup. Same barista. Only this time, empty. No other customers. No doubles. No clocks. A single cup waited on the counter. No label. Just blank. Michael approached, trembling. A sticky note on the counter read, "Write your own name, or stay forever." He picked up the sharpen. His hand hovered. If he wrote, "Michael," the cycle would continue. But if he didn't, what would happen? He took a breath. And wrote, "Not Michael." Everything went dark. Darkness swallowed him whole. Not sleep. Not unconsciousness. Just nothing. No sound. No light. No thoughts. Then, a whisper cracked through the void like static. "What is your name?" Michael opened his eyes. He was seated. Back in a Starbucks. But it wasn't his Starbucks. The layout was subtly wrong. The counter curved the wrong way. The chalkboard menu listed items he'd never seen before. Cognitive espresso. Identity latte. The filtered soul. No customers. No barista. Just him. And in front of him, a cup. Blank. No name. He looked around. The windows outside were black mirrors. No street, no sky. Only reflections of him, sitting in infinite duplicate. "What is your name?" the voice repeated, now from the cup itself. He didn't respond. He was tired. Bone tired. Soul tired. A kind of exhaustion that didn't come from running or screaming, but from resisting being overwritten. His hand twitched. He felt the itch of the Sharpie in his fingers. Again the voice asked, softer this time. "Who are you, really?" Memories flooded in. Not just his own. He saw a Michael who'd lived in Chicago, never moved to Seattle. A Michael who'd taken a different job offer 10 years ago. One who'd married his high school sweetheart. One who jumped in front of a train. One who never existed at all, just a projected ideal of what he could have been. He blinked, breath shuddering. Each version whispered in unison. "Choose. Choose. Choose." "No," he said aloud, standing. "I won't be sorted." The Sharpie trembled in his hand. He clicked the cap shut. The Starbucks lights dimmed. Suddenly, the building shook. Reality rippled like heat off asphalt. From the black glass of the window, one of his reflections stepped out. This Michael was clean-shaven, wore a sleek gray suit, and moved like he was made of code. Glitchy, smooth, mechanical. Corporate Michael. "You failed to comply," he said, voice monotone. Michael backed away. "What the hell is this place?" "A name farm," said the figure. "You are harvested for stability." "Stability? You humans need labels to function. Starbucks was the perfect vessel to test identity anchoring. Names on cups. Repetition. Comfort." Michael felt nausea twist his stomach. "This entire store is a machine," Corporate Michael continued. "A filter. It keeps society functioning by pruning unstable identities." He gestured to the blank cup on the table. "Write your name. Let the system place you in the role best suited for your data." Michael glanced at the door. It had no handle. No hinges. Just a frame. No, he said again. I'm not just a name. I'm me. Corporate Michael tilted his head. Then prepared to be overwritten. He opened his mouth. And screamed. The sound wasn't human. It shattered the cup. The air pixelated. The windows rippled as dozens of other versions of Michael stepped out of the reflections. One had no mouth. One wore hospital scrubs. One carried a toddler. One held a noose. They circled him, twitching like glitched-out holograms. Michael ran. Through the hallway behind the counter. Into a stairwell that hadn't been there before. Each step led downward, deeper and deeper. The walls were lined with blackboards, all scribbled with names. Mike R. Mickey. M. Reed. Amar. Michael. He descended past names like fossils, layered identities, each discarded version. Finally, he emerged into a massive underground chamber. Hundreds of Starbucks stores, arranged in a sphere. A coffee hive. In the center, suspended in air like a floating orb, was a massive eye. Blinking. Watching. The Starbucks eye. Why do you resist naming? It asked, voice like caffeine boiling. Because a name isn't who I am, he said. The eye narrowed. Without a name, you are unfiled. Untracked. You dissolve. Michael stood firm. Maybe that's what I need. From all sides, the Michaels came. Thousands of them. Each holding a cup. Each with their own names. They began chanting in unison. Michael. 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 Michael cupped his ears. Stop! But their voices grew louder. Sharper. Cutting through him like blades. Then, a spark of rebellion. One version stepped forward and threw his cup on the ground. Shattered. Another followed. Then another. Until dozens of versions of him were smashing their cups. Shouting. Not Michael! I am no one's product! I will not be brewed! The eye screamed. A siren blared. Reality glitched. The chamber shuddered as the entire Starbucks hive began to collapse inward. Michael sprinted, dodging falling letters, physical letters, giant floating M, S, and I, S, and C, S raining from the ceiling. One crashed through a floor panel, revealing sunlight? He jumped down. Landed hard on pavement. A street. Real. Wet. Seattle. Cars. People. Pedestrians walking past, coffees in hand. Normal. He blinked. He was outside again. Free. He turned, expecting to see the Starbucks behind him. But it was gone. Just an empty lot with overgrown grass. No building. No windows. No barista. Just a weathered sign nailed to a rotting post. Coming soon, Starbucks corporate test site number 019, permit pending. His heart pounded. He checked his phone. It was fully charged. 11:11 a.m. April 3rd. One notification. Calendar reminder, therapy appointment, discuss identity anxiety. He laughed. A real, bitter, hollow laugh. His reflection in the black screen of his phone looked tired. But it was his. Just his. He whispered to no one. My name is mine. Then walked away, leaving the name behind. Michael walked for blocks, trying to reorient himself to the real world. The Starbucks hive, the endless doubles, the blinking eye, was gone. But it wasn't. He felt it lingering behind his eyes like caffeine jitters that wouldn't fade. Everything felt too crisp. Too filtered. The sunlight didn't feel warm. It felt processed. Like a screensaver. People passed him, each absorbed in their own world. But as he looked closer, a chilling realization swept over him. Everyone had a Starbucks cup. Every single person. Some sipped. Some clutched. Some held empty ones and stared blankly at them like relics. He passed a woman talking on the phone. Yeah, I'm just getting my usual. Venti vanilla latte for Sarah. Yeah, they already knew my name again, haha. Creepy, right? Michael's stomach turned. They were still inside. All of them. Not trapped in the hive, living it. A system so vast, so perfectly disguised, that even reality was part of the brand. He ducked into an alley, pressing his back against the wall. His breathing came in short bursts. Maybe he never escaped. Maybe he just moved deeper. His phone buzzed again. New Starbucks order. Michael R. Pickup ready. Location unknown. ETA now. He hadn't ordered anything. He didn't even have the app. The notification blinked. The accept button glowed. He turned off the phone. It turned back on. He took the battery out. It still buzzed in his hand. Then it began whispering. Order up. Order up. Order up. He threw it down. The phone shattered, but the voice kept whispering from the shards. He ran. To the one place he hoped would ground him. His apartment. Climbing the stairs 2 at a time, he fumbled with his keys, breath catching in his throat. He pushed open the door. And stopped. His apartment was the same. But too clean. Too symmetrical. All the picture frames straightened. The mug he left out earlier was gone. The TV was turned off, but reflected in the black screen was someone sitting on the couch. Someone who looked exactly like him. The figure turned its head slightly, just enough to smirk. Michael stepped back and slammed the door shut. Back into the hallway. Back into chaos. The elevator dinged. He turned. Inside the elevator was another Michael. This one was old, gray-haired, weathered eyes distant. Don't fight it, the older version said. Just pick a flavor of you and stick with it. That's all they want. I'm not doing this again, Michael growled. Oh, but you will. Again and again. The elevator door shut. Michael ran out of the building, down into the city, heart racing. Everything looked normal, but now he could see it. People lining up at Starbucks like worshippers. Every store branded with green and beige. Even bus stops with new flavors of you billboards. A man reading a newspaper titled The Daily Roast, edition number 882 Michael. The system was bigger than the hive. Bigger than coffee. It was identity itself. At the edge of the city, Michael saw a coffee truck parked in an alley. It wasn't Starbucks. Black paint. No logo. Just the word, unbrewed, spray-painted on the side. A woman stood behind the counter. No name tag. No smile. Her eyes met his like she recognized him. Not just his face, but his decision. You broke the loop, she said. They'll be rewriting you soon. Can I stop them? No. But you can confuse them. She slid a cup toward him. It was blank. No name? He asked. She smiled. You choose how much of yourself you want to remember. Michael stared at the cup. Took it. Tasted it. It was bitter. Raw. Not comforting. But it was real. And suddenly, he remembered everything. Not just the hive, but every loop before. Every name. Every false choice. And how it always ended. He went back. He opened his eyes in a new Starbucks. The barista smiled at him. Hi there. What's your name? Michael met her gaze. And smiled. I don't have one. She blinked. For the first time in her programmed routine, she froze. The screen on the register glitched. The machines behind her sputtered. Then, error, unnamed customer. Location breach detected. The lights dimmed. Chairs rattled. Other customers stopped mid-sip. He walked to the counter, leaned in, and whispered, Your cup is empty. And with that, the whole store flickered out like a bad dream ending. Michael stood alone in an empty lot. Just grass. Dirt. Silence. Finally, silence. He looked at the cup in his hand. Blank. Real. He set it down. And walked away, into a world not made for him, but no longer able to name him either. He didn't escape the system. But he became unreadable to it. And in this world of labels and copies and caffeine-steeped compliance, that was the most dangerous thing of all.